Welcome to our FAR in 5 Minutes series. This week, FAR Part 39. Let's get digital. IT is all about information, how we store it, how we use it and interface with it, and the government has lots of information to handle. Humans have been making breakthroughs with handling information for centuries. Gutenberg did a pretty good job with the printing press. Then, years later, America said, "Hold my non-alcoholic beer," and the internet and software was born. We even got space involved. We said, "Space, you're not doing anything. Help us use information better." I'm paraphrasing world history. Information technology is any equipment or system that is used to do this. With data and information, it includes financial management systems and related equipment to make it work. But it does not include requirements that use IT, but its main purpose is something else, like HVAC. Part 39 also does not apply to national security systems like IT used for intelligence or military operations. Information and communication technology is covered in Subpart 39.2. It's defined in Part 2, but really concerns how users interact with the IT. The principal function of ICT is accessibility for electronic information, and Subpart 39.2 is all about complying with Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Section 508 compliance ensures that all IT is accessible to users with disabilities, enabling equal access to government resources and services. This includes visual and hearing impairments. There are some exceptions and exemptions to Section 508, like national security or undue burden. See 39.204 and 39.205. Documentation to use these are definitely required. The policy section of Subpart 39.1 outlines underlying principles of IT procurement. It mentions the big ticket items to consider for any IT requirement: security, privacy, equal accessibility for all users. It even mentions the environmental considerations, like don't kill trees by printing one-sided. Just remember the movie Fern Gully. One note on security: there are some companies you cannot use, and 39.101 paragraph F directs you to FAR subparts 4.21 and 4.22, which discusses covered foreign countries and telecommunications equipment. Translation: China. Specifically companies like Huawei and TikTok. So if your agency requirement is for 20-second videos of people breakdancing in malls, just use YouTube Shorts. There are many ways that adversarial things can enter IT systems. You need to keep supply chain risk in mind. Not addressed specifically in FAR Part 39, but will likely be in your agency's FAR supplement. The Defense Department, for example, covers IT supply chain risk in DFAR Subpart 239.73. Another note on security: since IT and security are like peanut butter and jelly, or Ross and Rachel, they just go together. Cybersecurity is a big deal, and your agency's supplements to Part 39 will likely have additional language addressing things like cloud computing and cloud security. FedRAMP, for example, standardizes security authorization for cloud services used by federal agencies, making sure all that data used in the cloud is snug and secure. Contractors using the cloud must be compliant with FedRAMP. On a related note, 39.102 reminds you to include risk analysis in your acquisition planning and harkens you back to FAR Part 7, acquisition planning. A large and oft-neglected section in Part 39 is modular contracting in 39.103. 39.002 defines modular contracting as using one or more contracts to acquire IT in successive, interoperable increments. It's intended to help meet the government's need for timely access to rapidly changing technology. It talks about dividing the requirement into smaller increments and to provide agility in addressing workable solutions as they come up. With each independent increment, you can pivot and evolve. Sound familiar? We call this agile acquisition now. It's the hot new technique to address dynamic IT requirements. What's funny is that modular contracting is neither hot nor new. It was first introduced to the FAR in 1998 through the Clinger-Cohen Act of 1994. It then experienced severe underutilization for 26 years.
I wanna know what love is.
But it is now emerging like a phoenix from the ashes and starting to catch on. For example, in 2020, the DoD finally added the software acquisition pathway to their adaptive acquisition framework. Many concepts here are just from the Clinger-Cohen Act from 1994, but better late than never. Here's another interesting section in Part 39. Did you know that when you acquire IT, you should not be mandating any minimum experience or education requirements on contractor personnel? Why? because the best and brightest IT professionals are not necessarily the most educated and weather-worn. Those Gen Z and Gen Alphas have IT flowing through their blood. Don't deny their powers. The CEO actually must specifically justify any requirements for prior experience and education. This is in 39.104. Most people don't know this requirement exists. Take heed. Section 39.105 deals with privacy and applies Part 24 to IT buys. Similar to security, this is obviously a big deal. That wraps it up with Part 39. This part is becoming more and more relevant as we enter the digital age. Know this part well so you can build our federal Tomorrowland. Until next time, stay sharp and modular.
I wanna know what love is.